Welcome to IT 305 Active Web AWICE1, now with my voice. So this is a voice one, not the note one. So we'll get started here. We'll go Site, Open Site, right? That's the only way we should be opening it. You should have your Z web or your network drive and your web folder from your HTML project. Go ahead and open that, and we'll see our folder list over here and our contents over here. So let's go ahead and make sure we're on Active Web. If you don't have this, you can always go to Panels, Reset Current Workstation, and you'll get all of this nice stuff. So let's go on to the left folders, open our ICE Active Web folder first, expand that. AWICE1, go ahead and expand that. You have your instructions, a database, and a style sheet. Alright. So let's go ahead and open your instructions, and let's go ahead and start. We'll click on it once, just see it in the site view, and we'll go create our first ASPX page. Go File, New, ASPX, click on that, and you should soon see your first ASPX page. It just takes a while. Alright, so we have an ASPX page. Note the difference here is now you have this form, closed form thing, and you'll be putting all of your stuff, your code between those two lines. Let's save it first and rename it. You can do save or save all. We'll call it default.aspx. Save. And then let's go ahead and note it's default ASPX. Make sure you have this split so you see your stuff and the code, and let's go ahead and start typing things, and we'll change the header first. Next thing, you'll look at your instructions, and we'll go ahead and insert our divisions in between our forms. So you want to put it between lines 12 and 13 in this example, or between the form and the closed form, the slash form. Okay, so let's go start typing. Division ID equals, and we shouldn't get anything at this point. Why? Because we haven't applied our style. So we need to apply that style.css, and we can only apply it easily if we have it saved first. So let's save it and drag and drop that style.css into our preview screen. Done that, you can see the colors change. Now when we type in our division, we get the right IDs. So let's pick wrapper and go ahead and type in what's in your instructions, the divisions shown in your instructions. Just make sure you add these tabs, and you want it neat so that you can remember and you can see where you're putting things. You might not see content, but that's fine. Just go ahead and type it. It's not going to be a big deal. Alright. So as we move on, now we're supposed to type in the heading. So let's go to our division ID header. We can also do it down on our preview screen, as long as we select the upper box and not the lower box. Let's go ahead and type that in. Note how it changes in our code, and go ahead and type in the lower part. We're now just about ready for part 3, where we will be actually adding in our first active web element, preferably in this space right here. Well, one thing I want to stress is we have the right side box, the toolbox over here. That's where we get things from. Let's make sure we minimize all of our all the lists over there. This is where we get things from. Let's go ahead and expand our ASP.NET controls and minimize everything. This is going to make it easier for us to find things. So in here, we're just going to be using standard data and validation. So this is where we get things, this is where we change content, and this is where we change properties. Right, so try and remember that. Getting things from here, changing content over here, right, and changing properties over here. That's what these three boxes are going to be used for. If you remember that, it's going to be easier. So let's go ahead, open data, grab our first ASPX item, and we'll drag a form view into our content box, our preview window. You'll see a form here, and some of you will try it this way. Choose data source and configure new data source. Some of you will have access database, a lot of you won't, but never use the SQL database. Alright, never ever use that. Here's a warning. If you use it, it'll work fine on your local version, but when you publish it, it won't work, and you're going to have to do it all over again. The longest part of this is having to do everything over again. So let's add something, the access data source in the right way. Go over to your right box, drag access data source, and configure it here. So we inserted our form, and we then inserted an access data source. So let's change our form properties. Remember, on the properties, we want to change the, we want to go to the left box there, right? And now we're going to configure our data source. We'll get browse, we'll go to our active web folder, pick AWICE1.mdb, and hit next. This selects the tables we can use. The asterisk down there selects all fields, so you don't need to click each individual one. We'll go to advanced and generate insert statements. Click on that box. Do that all the time just for good practice. Hit next. We'll test out this query. The data we want shows up. We'll hit finish. Now we have to link that data source to our form. So we'll click on the arrow, we'll click on choose data source, and choose the one we just built, access data source 1. So now we have our field showing up. So let's go ahead and change some of the properties of that form. So make sure you click on that form. It's highlighted in green. You'll see the properties change, and you have two ways of looking at it, either by category or alphabetical order. So let's change it to alphabetical order and look for our horizontal align. Once we find that, we'll change it to center. Note that it's changed to center over here. And then we'll look for our next property on the sheet, which is insert row style. We changed it to category, see under styles, insert row style, and we'll change that to left justified. Finally, we'll change our font size to large. So we'll expand font and change the size to large. Once we're done with that, we'll go ahead and check the properties one more time. And what we're going to do is we're going to edit our form now using insert item template. Insert item template. And we'll continue this more on part 2 of this IC. Yeah, this is long.